Rumors of an August PlayStation showcase emerges. PlayStation 5 sales shoot up by huge margins. Microsoft makes classic Call of Duty games popular again. And developers once again speak out on Xbox Series S hardware bottlenecks, and the Xbox Acti merger stakes just went up for Microsoft to the tune of $4.5 billion if the deal isn't closed by the specific extended date. All that and more right after this. Welcome back to another Foxy Games UK news video. If you like the work I do here, go ahead, like, subscribe, hit notification, follow Foxy Games via Twitter at FoxyGames_UK for more informative gaming news, rumor, opinion, and gameplay. So, I know, yes I know some people have wondered why there's been more coverage on Xbox than PlayStation recently. But you know, I gotta tell you, this is a PlayStation centric channel, but it's not a PlayStation only channel. And with the Activision Xbox merger reaching some sort of climax, after all, it is PlayStation's nearest competition and rival. Yes, Microsoft Xbox has been dominating the news cycle recently. Now, I don't know about you, but as a news guy, I want to know what the competition is up to and what other games may or may not be taken away from PlayStation gamers in the future. Yes, Foxy Games UK is PlayStation centric, but that doesn't mean we have to exist in a PlayStation bubble. So with that being said, let's head over to truetrophies.com for our first news story. All relevant links can be found in the video's description. So yeah, according to the report via True Trophies, next PlayStation Showcase is rumored for August 2023, and it will be with a hardware focus. So if the PlayStation Showcase for August 2023 rumors are to be believed, then Sony might have a chance next month to make up for May's lackluster PlayStation Showcase. So after the boring PlayStation Showcase in May 2023 got everybody lukewarmed up for the year ahead, understandably there's considerable hope from PS5 owners that there might be a few more upcoming PS5 and PlayStation 4 games for 2023 still to show. Well, according to the latest PlayStation Showcase August rumors, they might be right. Though with all the conflicting reports, it's best to take this all with a pinch of salt. While there happen to be a number of dubious rumors floating around about the next PlayStation Showcase, once again we have Special Nick to lean on this time for some slightly dubious credibility. So here's a quote from Special Nick on Twitter. I have heard a little while back that there would most likely be an August show for PlayStation. The plan was to reveal the Slim there. Maybe they're going to go earlier to combat the Xbox ABK news. So the Slim Nick is referring to here is the PS5 Slim model that Microsoft was so jazzed up about earlier this month. We've been reporting on rumors of a new PS5 model for quite a while now, and it's unclear if this still refers to the detachable disc drive version of the console reportedly on its way this year, or if this is referring to another console build entirely. This time last year, there was essentially the exact same claim from Nick regarding a Sony State of Play, just minus any mention of a PS5 Slim. Much like last time, Nick has really stated things could change, which indeed they did in 2022, as the State of Play aired in September, not August. Could we be going through the same cycle all over again? Time will tell. So this writer obviously doesn't believe Nick in a sort of roundabout way. Backing up the rumors of an impending PlayStation Showcase is the ever-dependable Colin Moriarty of the Sacred Symbols podcast, though unfortunately Moriarty didn't provide an expected date for the presentation, so as far as we're concerned, that's the only thing we know about with some degree of certainty. Another PlayStation Showcase is coming in 2023, hopefully this time it's got more than just a promise of Marvel's Spider-Man 2 to wow us. What are you hoping for from the next PlayStation Showcase? Are you interested in the PS5 Slim? Maybe you're hoping for a few more surprise contenders, hopefully a PS5 Pro? I don't know. Sticking with PlayStation 5 for the time being, this time courtesy of PSU.com, PS5 is Europe's #1 console again, following a 116% spike in sales. Published by Mike Harridans via PlayStationUniverse.com, here's the full story. So the latest GSD figures have revealed that PS5 sales jumped 116% in Europe back in June, with Sony's console reclaiming the top spot in console sales for the region. As a result, Nintendo Switch had previously held the #1 spot on hardware sales in Europe, although the hybrid system has seen a slight decline in performance. Xbox Series X and S sales, meanwhile, are pretty much flat, down 0.8%. Meanwhile, accessories are once again in favor of Sony. The DualSense controller is the #1 selling peripheral during the same period, with sales up 6.6% on the same period last year. The PS5 was released in November 2020 and was hit by a series of major stock shortages for over 18 months, I would argue almost 2 years, although things have since improved and the console is readily available worldwide. Sony announced during its latest financial call that the console had shipped 38.4 million units worldwide. But that was some time ago. I'm expecting at least PS5 sales to have reached around 46 million by now, because this was reported way back, at least 4 months ago or something like that. And we know there's an abundance of PlayStation consoles available, so there's no reason why it couldn't have hit 45 million by now. Okay, so moving on to Xbox. GamingBolt.com has reported that Xbox Series S is a nice option for customers, but can be a bottleneck for developers, according to the Trine 5 developer. I think that's the classic indie sort of fairy tale adventure that I played way back on PS3. So Frozen Byte marketing manager Kai Tuvinen believes that the Xbox Series S less powerful hardware can be an issue for more graphically intensive games. Whether or not the Xbox Series S relatively less powerful hardware compared to other current gen consoles become a problem for developers as time goes on is a point of discussion since the day Microsoft first unveiled it. And although there's no denying the advantages it presents, especially from a consumer's perspective, it's affordable, the value is apparent, but now the Xbox Series S does pose some limitations that potentially lead to development issues. So Trine 5, a Clockwork Conspiracy developer, Frozen Byte, seem to agree with that general notion. That other developers have also spoken about this in a recent interview with Gaming Bolt. When asked about the Xbox Series S and whether the hardware will be able to keep pace with its peers as the generation progresses, Frozen Byte manager Talvinen said that while the console is certainly a great option to have for those looking to purchase cheaper hardware, from a development perspective it can potentially become a bottleneck, especially for the more technically demanding games. Here's a quote: "More powerful hardware is always better from a developer perspective. I think far more graphically intensive games than the Series S can become a bottleneck, as supporting it is required. In other words, they cannot ship without an Xbox Series S version of the game. From a player perspective, I guess it's a nice option to have a more affordable console though." End of quote. Of course, this isn't just a hypothetical at this point. Larian Studios has also been facing technical issues with getting Baldur's Gate 3 split screen co-op running properly on Xbox Series S, resulting in a delayed Xbox launch for the highly anticipated RPG. Last year, Techland also talked about how the console's GPU was holding development back. During an interview, Talvinen said that they revealed to GameBolt that Trine 5 will run at 4K 60fps on PS5, Xbox Series X, and at 1440 60fps on Series S, which is still good for the price of the hardware. Let's be honest, 1440p 60fps. He also confirmed that the game will be at least 12 hours long. So earlier this year, Frozen Byte also talked about Game Pass and how it contributes oversaturation of content in spite of being an interesting program to reach more gamers at scale. Every developer has their view on Game Pass. I've certainly got mine. So, our last and final story, GamesIndustry.biz, sticking with Microsoft, and the Activision deal has been extended with a new deadline for October 18. Microsoft and Activision has agreed to extend the deadline for the platform holders acquisition. So the deal was first announced back in January 2022 and was due to be completed by July 18, some 2 days ago. However, regulatory hurdles have slowed the process, and it has been reported earlier that really this week that the two companies are negotiating an extension while they work to address the remaining issues. Activision has now announced, alongside its latest financial results, that the two firms have agreed to a new deadline of October 18. But here's the kicker: Activision are acting rather bullish this time around. Originally, the termination fee was to be $3 billion, but this has been increased to $3.5 billion if the deal is cancelled after August 29, and up to $4.5 billion if the deal is scrapped or expires after September 15. However, both companies are confident the deal will be completed in time. This puts Microsoft on the back foot though, with Xbox gaming boss Phil Spencer posting on Twitter, and I quote, "We're optimistic about getting this done and excited about bringing more games to more players everywhere." Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard has been approved in approximately 40 markets around the world, according to the Call of Duty publisher. There are 3 key regions from which the deal needs approval in order to go ahead: the European Union, the United States, and the UK. The EU approved the deal earlier this year, while the US Federal Trade Commission fought against the merger. A US District Court ruling last week and a failed subsequent appeal means there's no barrier preventing Microsoft and Activision from completing in the US. In fact, Congress has leaned on the FTC to leave Microsoft and Activision deal alone. In other words, hands off, back off. Seriously. So the UK's Competition and Markets Authority blocked the deal earlier this year, but has since agreed to consider new proposals from Microsoft that might address its concerns. A decision is expected by August 29. And just as some news bonus, miraculously, Microsoft has fixed server issues for the classic Call of Duty games to the likes of Black Ops, Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3, and a slew of other once delisted, I suppose, from the servers. Call of Duty games are now fully playable, and boy, are Xbox gamers playing them. Some of these games are higher than current games, like 100,000 players, 300,000 players, 60,000 players, even on the less popular Call of Duty games, which is something to be said, to be honest. It tells you that people still crave Call of Duty and the classic Call of Duty of old. Maybe Activision should be looking at this, because a lot of people are enjoying these classic Call of Duty games. Maybe they should, not saying go in a completely new direction with Call of Duty, but just look at, the trends going on at the moment, especially with those multiplayer online maps for the new Call of Duty games coming. Maybe look to the past for the future. So, interesting stuff, isn't it, really? What can I say? So I guess with the Jim Ryan failing to make a compelling, convincing argument, through the FTC, via the FTC and CMA regulators, I guess it's time to distract us all with a gaming event, because we all know how fickle humans can be. Give them something they want, something potentially mind-blowing, and miraculously, all the bad news goes away. Great PR. Now, with the completely underwhelming, almost forgettable previous PlayStation showcase, I'd imagine a knockout second showcase in 2023 would be good for gamers, and as I say, PlayStation public relations. I don't get why, though. I just don't get why people are so vocally pissed about remakes and remasters on social media. I mean, isn't it just easier to just, shut the fuck up and simply not buy them? But that would negate their innate desire for fake outrage, and that won't do well. So, according to certain things that are going on with the Activision Xbox deal, as far as Sony concerned, I believe, whether you're a fanboy, PlayStation fanboy or not, let's just keep it real. PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan royally screwed up, and if you can't see it, you're completely jaded. Sony only wanted Call of Duty and got what it wanted, and other games didn't mean anything to them, according to one of my followers on Twitter. But what about what it means to PlayStation gamers who like other Activision Blizzard King games that are not Call of Duty? Now, I don't know. I don't play PlayStation because of what's good for Sony. I play for what's good for me as the consumer, and I think everybody should do that. So the Microsoft 10-year deal with Nintendo includes all of the Activision Blizzard King games that Microsoft can put on the platform, but Sony's deal is only for Call of Duty. Pretty much every Activision Blizzard King PlayStation game will be at discretion of Microsoft, which is really a super dumb move by Jim Ryan over at Sony, who should have really kept his mouth shut and allowed the CMA and FTC to do their thing because it lost anyway. I know hindsight is 2020, but why put yourself out there? Why do that? Why put the spotlight on you? Having moved all of the Xbox game activity over to PC, I'm not going to lie though, I'm having a great time playing Xbox via Game Pass PC. I didn't realize achievements earned on PC also counted towards Xbox Series X achievements. Yeah, I may have left the Xbox console, but I'm very still much part of the ecosystem. So let Sony fuck around and I'll play PlayStation games over on PC too. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. While Sony deliver the goods, I'll continue to buy PlayStations. Simple as. Oh, what say you? Let's continue the discussion cordially in the comments, as that brings us to the end of the video. Just like, subscribe, hit notification, comment regularly on videos. You may also wish to help Foxy Games UK reach more gamers, so feel free to share the video. And you might want to consider supporting Foxy Games via Patreon because, well, we're like family now. Link in the description. But that concludes our time together today. Until next time, play games, not corporations.